right now on Weather Center Live. You know the old saying, when it rains, it pours. And across parts of the South, it's doing just that. Saturated grounds with nowhere for the water to go, leaving streets and homes flooded. In just minutes, we'll break down the areas that could see even more of this.
And from one extreme to another, leaving the too wet and going to the too dry, wildfires. High winds helping fuel dangerous situations for millions. And it's not just out west. The threat is imminent, and we are here to make sure you are not caught off guard. It's our expert-filled, in-depth live coverage, and it continues right here, right now on Weather Center Live. Made it to Hump Day, midweek, Wednesday here. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mark Elliott.
And I'm Vivian Brown. You know, so far this week we've dealt with heavy rain, flooding, tornadoes, fire, snow, and even a dust storm. So I'm so happy that it is at least Hump Day. Maybe the rest of the week, not so rough.
Well, Viv, I can safely say the week's not over yet.
Yeah.
Well. So we're tracking it all for you. We're going to get you through some more rough weather. Let's start across the south where it is still rather rain-soaked. I mean, look at this. You see how that storm slammed into Corpus Christi? It destroyed this gas station canopy, and that wasn't the only damage. Look at this. Winds up to 70 miles per hour, so lots of tree damage, power line damage. At one point, 17,000 homes and businesses were without power. And AEP Texas reports that there's still about 1,600 without power still today. Several public schools are closed because of those power outages, but the good news here, police said that no immediate reports of injuries were reported, so that is definitely the bright side to this dangerous weather.
Well, that is some good news, but there is nothing bright about the days ahead in terms of the weather, because we still have cloudy, dim conditions. Wet and stormy days continue over a good part of the Deep South, from Texas all the way into the Carolinas. Now, take a look at the last 7 hours or so. Okay, each of these numbers now represent how much rain has fallen or accumulated in the rain gauges. And look out across New Orleans, over 4 inches, but here in Mobile, Alabama, over 9 inches of rain we've had so far. So you know that grounds are saturated. Many of the streams and creeks and rivers are running very high because we've had this upper air wind pattern. Winds are basically coming out of the south and moving north, and so are the winds at the surface. So we have the upper air wind flow and the surface wind flow kind of coming out of the same direction, and that's the Gulf of Mexico or the tropics. So you're just bound to get rounds and rounds of rain. In fact, Atlanta, 4 days of rain and counting. As today, more thunderstorms. Tomorrow, showers. That'll be the case on Friday. New Orleans, you've had 6 consecutive days. That's why you've had so much rain too. And right on through the end of the week, we're looking at thunderstorms. Maybe clearing out by Friday for you in Nashville, Tennessee. But we will keep our fingers crossed for you, of course, over the Cumberland Plateau. Here's a look at the current surface analysis. And again, here comes the cold front, but it's also out ahead of the warm, moist, unstable air mass. Let's talk more about the threat of more heavy rain as well as the embedded stronger storms. Dr. Greg Postel, give us all the details.
Viv, thank you very much. You know, we have a shot at some thunderstorms across parts of the south. Really all day today. We had some earlier severe thunderstorm warnings in parts of Georgia and South Carolina. Those have since expired, but still looking at the map, there's a chance for storms across parts of the southeast, including Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, and the like. That would be in that area. Not such a great threat for severe weather. However, out here in the high plains, I would say all the way from about North Platte down through Amarillo, and then again parts of southern Texas. Later on this afternoon and the evening, watch out for the possibility of severe weather. Thanks in part to a pretty good upper level circulation, a pretty strong one. Your cold pocket aloft, bringing some strong winds aloft out across the high plains. And those are going to help bring some ingredients together. And that will, I think, support thunderstorm development later on this afternoon. I put on here the upper level weather charts, and what we've got is the basically upper level temperatures here shaded in blue. That's where the coldest air aloft is, not far away from Salt Lake City, by the way, where it is snowing pretty heavily right now. But the circulation around that cold pocket aloft is out of the southwest across the high plains, and those strong winds aloft will help sustain organized thunderstorm activity later on today, where we do think the dew points are going to creep up all along this zone with a south easterly wind, bringing some slightly more moisture into the region. It's not going to be real humid out there, but you don't need it out in the high plains. Really, a 50-degree dew point out here will just about do it in terms of supporting severe weather. So let's now time it out through the high plains of Kansas and western Nebraska. I'll tell you what, if I were a chaser, this might not be a bad day to go chasing and look at some photogenic storms, because there's not going to be a whole lot of them. They may be relatively isolated and somewhat picturesque. So watch out for some hailers out there. That would be the primary mode, hail and high winds. There is a chance for a tornado, but we think perhaps not so as much as the hail and the high winds. Across parts of the southern plains, watch out here in the Caprock of Texas and parts of the western areas there for some severe weather later on this afternoon and evening. And also tomorrow, roughly in the same spot, Mark, because one of the forcing mechanisms, the upper level low, isn't going to be moving much. So severe weather tomorrow in many of the same places that we have it today.
Yeah, but that upper level low is certainly going to bring a lot of cold air aloft, support those big storms, the big updrafts, and thus the big threat of hail, as you mentioned. The big threat is hail. So let's talk a little bit more about how we can get hail to form and huge hail to form in some of these updrafts. And it is really all about that updraft strength. It's about that wind coming in. We get wind that flies through the center of a supercell thunderstorm. Those updraft speeds can extend past 100 miles per hour. Now, within that kind of motion, you also have lots of raindrops, right? It is a supercell thunderstorm. We've got rain in there. Those raindrops can form and be suspended and even brought up through the storm. Eventually, they'll freeze. They'll go past the mid-levels where temperatures are well below freezing, and then as more water drops kind of run into that hailstone, they'll stick, and that hailstone will grow. The hail will grow at the expense of the supercooled water drops in the storm. Eventually, though, the updraft can't support that hailstone. It got too big and too heavy, and it will eventually fall. And sometimes those storm hailstones are huge. The largest U.S. hailstone was 8 inches in diameter, which means it had an updraft that likely exceeded 200 miles per hour. Viv, unbelievable how massive these supercell thunderstorms can grow.
Supercell thunderstorm that can produce tornadoes even with a lot of damage. You know, tornadoes have a lot of power. They can throw large pieces of debris hundreds of miles away in some cases. Stick around because we're going in depth with a world-renowned researcher about the power of tornadoes. And we'll show you an unexpected tool that scientists are using to track debris. Stay with us.
I knew instantly that this was, wow. It's Crest HD. It's amazing.
New Crest HD gives you a 6 times healthier mouth and 6 times whiter teeth in just 1 week.
It gets practically every detail. That's why it's called HD.
Try new Crest Pro Health HD.
I'm only in my 60s. I've got a nice long life ahead, big plans. So when I found out Medicare doesn't pay all my medical expenses, I got a Medicare supplement insurance plan.
If you're eligible for Medicare, you may know it only covers about 80% of your Part B medical expenses. The rest is up to you. Call now and find out about an AARP Medicare supplement insurance plan insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Like all standardized Medicare supplement insurance plans, it could save you in out-of-pocket medical costs. Call now to request your free decision guide.
I've been with my doctor for 12 years. Now I know I'll be able to stick with them.
You'll be able to visit any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients. Plus, there are no networks and virtually no referrals needed. See why millions of people have already enrolled in the only Medicare supplement insurance plans endorsed by AARP. Don't wait. Call now.
Book a tee time 24/7 with Golf Now. Day or night. Even after the course closes. Search the largest selection of available tee times at over 6,000 great courses. Book your round in no time with Golf Now.
Currently in our area, 87 degrees under partly cloudy skies. today, sunshine and clouds mixed. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. High 87. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Low 74. Thursday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 87. Chance of rain 40%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
All you got to do is show us something that's amazing out there. We love to see your pictures, and every picture you share, we'll try to share it as well right here on AMHQ.
Lowe's presents how to get inside someone's head.
I love the wicker.
I'd prefer the wood finish.
Green feels right.
Has to be blue.
2 seats is perfect.
3 seats would be better.
Those cushions really match your dress.
So, the other one then?
Let's get this one.
What are you thinking?
Nothing.
Now get the Hayden Island patio set for $398 at Lowe's, where your style comes together.
Shop Lowe's for all your spring gardening needs. Plants, tools, and the knowledgeable people who can help you spring into spring.
Now at Boston Market, new slow braised pulled pork. So tender, it falls apart. Topped with zesty barbecue or garlic citrus sauce. A bold new taste from the slow roasting experts at Boston Market.
6 smoky hours, 1 tasty dish. Slow braised pulled pork, now at Boston Market.
Anyone have occasional constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating?
Yes.
1 Phillips Colon Health probiotic cap each day helps defend against these occasional digestive issues with 3 types of good bacteria. Live the regular life. Phillips.
I'm here to test myself.
This is really pushing my limits.
I'll see you on the other side.
It's the moment of truth right here.
Naked and Afraid, Discovery's groundbreaking hit returns. Check your local listings.
The FDA issued a public notice to doctors and patients concerning serious injuries caused by transvaginal mesh, bladder mesh, pelvic sling, and bladder sling. Please call now if you had one of these devices implanted in the last 5 years. You may be entitled to a cash award. If you had a transvaginal mesh, bladder mesh, pelvic sling, or bladder sling in the last 5 years,
please call 1-866-686-7952 now.
You know, this time of year, we're always talking about tornadoes. Severe weather season is such a big focus here at the Weather Channel. Those living in Rochelle and Fairdale, Illinois, are picking through the damage left by last week's deadly EF4 tornado. 35 miles away in the town of Harvard, a picture of one of those who lost their lives has surfaced. Also found in Harvard, a piece of a home's roof and a children's book. Now, it's not that surprising that a powerful tornado can pick up photos and drop them far away. But just how far away can tornado debris land? Joining us now is a man with some of the answers. We have Victor Gensini, an assistant professor at the College of DuPage in Northern Illinois. He authored that key study on tracking tornado debris. So we're going to talk about that, Victor, in just a second. But first, I understand you got to get out there and survey some of the damage done from last week's tornado. Based on what you saw, how far do you think debris from that tornado might have gone?
That's exactly right, Mark. Our best estimate right now is probably somewhere between 100 or 150 miles. We have some recorded photographs and personal checks that landed nearly 70 miles away from Fairdale in the town of Racine and Kenosha area of just northern Chicago. But unfortunately, a lot of that debris probably landed in Lake Michigan and probably will never be recovered.
And when you're looking at that tornado in Illinois, we have it on the screen right now, what factors could affect how far this tornado may have carried things, like photos or documents?
Yeah, in our study, we looked at the upper level wind field. So as the tornado picks up the debris into the actual cyclone or center of the tornado, it lofts it very quickly into the upper atmosphere. And so we have to look at the jet stream level winds to see where a lot of this debris might land.
And Victor, turning a bit to that study you did back in the Alabama tornadoes, tracking that debris from the tornado outbreak that went through parts of the southeast, social media seemed to have a huge role and maybe inspired some of this work. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so some of my colleagues and I at the University of Georgia used Facebook and Twitter and a lot of the social media tools to really do some forensic analysis to try to figure out the start and the end points of a lot of these, photographs and checks and things that could actually be returned to people because they have some sort of identification on them. Social media in that study was huge, and I know this Fairdale tornado, there was a Facebook page set up to return those items to the individuals as well.
So through that study, both of this current tornado season and back in 2011, what have you learned about the way tornadoes collect and then disperse items like photos and documents?
The biggest thing is looking at that profile of wind with height. If you can imagine a flagpole and different winds in the atmosphere, if we extend that flagpole up into the upper atmosphere, if we look at the change in wind directions, it can tell us something potentially about where most of that debris may land. I haven't heard of any of the debris from the Fairdale tornado being recovered in Michigan, so that would be nearly 200 miles. The record from that 2011 tornadoes was a photograph that was found 219 miles away.
Yeah, just absolutely amazing work both this year and in that past study. We're still using that now. Victor Gensini, thanks so much for taking the time with us today. Fascinating work.
Thank you very much, Mark.
And of course, this is just part of the story. As Victor was hinting at, we're going to show you some of that debris that was lifted last week. We'll show you how far it went, and we'll go back to 2011 and give you details on that event. Don't go anywhere. We're going to continue this topic right after the break.
When a moment spontaneously turns romantic, why pause to take a pill? And why stop what you're doing to find a bathroom? With Cialis for daily use, you don't have to plan around either. It's the only daily tablet approved to treat erectile dysfunction, so you can be ready anytime the moment is right. Plus, Cialis treats the frustrating urinary symptoms of BPH, like needing to go frequently, day or night. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and medicines and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Do not drink alcohol in excess. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, get medical help right away for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, or any symptoms of an allergic reaction, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Why pause the moment? Ask your doctor about Cialis for daily use. For a free 30-tablet trial, go to Cialis.com.
Our oath isn't an empty gesture. It's the heart and soul of Terminix Nation. The Terminix Ultimate Protection Guarantee. A vow that we kill every termite in your home. Not here, not now, not in my house. Terminix.
Hey ladies, you love it. You gotta have it. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, because that cinnamon and sugar is so irresistible. Everybody craves those crazy squares.
We are still in the eye, and we're still trying to get in a safe place.
She is in labor right now.
We know more about this system hour by hour.
This is our Pineapple Express pumping in that rainfall.
We are talking about a doozy of a storm.
Sail on a 2-night Bahamas Paradise cruise from just $149. Cruise and Bahamas resort stay options also available at amazing prices. Call 800-814-7100. That's 800-814-7100.
Oh. All you got to do is show us something that's amazing out there. We love to see your pictures, and every picture you share, we'll try to share it as well right here on AMHQ.
Stay tuned for your Local on the 8s, brought to you by Flonase Allergy Relief. You are greater than your allergies.
Introducing new Flonase Allergy Relief Nasal Spray. This changes everything. New Flonase outperforms a leading allergy pill, so you will inhale life. When we breathe in allergens, our bodies react by overproducing 6 key inflammatory substances that cause our symptoms. Most allergy pills only control one substance. Flonase controls 6, and 6 is greater than 1. So roll down your windows, hug your pet, dust off some memories, make new ones. New Flonase. 6 is greater than 1. This changes everything.
Currently in our area, 87 degrees, under partly cloudy skies. Today, sunshine and clouds mixed. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. High 87. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Low 74. Thursday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 87. Chance of rain 40%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back to Weather Center Live. You know, if you're just joining in with us, we've been following the topic of tornado debris and just how far that debris can be thrown after a destructive tornado moves through an area. So let's go towards the debris field back from a few days ago, April 9th, when we had these massive tornadoes come through Rochelle to Fairdale. Now, there was that Grubstakers sign, the restaurant in this area. That sign traveled 49 miles away. Part of the sign was found in Harvard. So a large object like that can go a pretty good distance just from the winds themselves. We also had paper that was found in Twin Lakes. That's and with labeling on it, so you knew that it went about 60 miles from where the tornado went through. And even that was not the longest distance. We had some checks, a canceled check that floated 80 miles all the way towards Racine. And you notice what's after that? Lake Michigan. So it's hypothesized that some debris may have gone even further towards the north and east in that prevailing wind flow, but it will never be recovered because it fell into the lake and has sunk. But you know what? It's not the only storm. Let's head back to 2011. From midnight to midnight on April 27th, 207 tornadoes touched down in 15 states, 63 of them in Alabama, including this one in Tuscaloosa. This one was an EF4. An even more powerful EF5 tornado caused this damage in Hackleburg, Alabama. It struck Hackleburg and Phil Campbell, Alabama, and that tornado did something else as well. Check this out. A study was done back after 2011. This tornado came through Phil Campbell, picked up debris, and as it hit the upper level winds, those very strong winds aloft, it was thrown all the way to Tennessee. That distance, 220 miles or so. Unbelievable. Viv, over to you.
All right, it just shows the power of a tornado. We're watching for heavy rain right now. Not so much severe weather or tornadoes for sure, but flood watches have been issued from southeastern Louisiana all the way over to the panhandle of Florida. And here's why, because the radar right now does show the bulk of the showers offshore, but they have been flowing inland over the last 5 to 7 days, and we've had heavy amounts of rain, anywhere from 5 to nearly 9 inches of rain in some cases. So the good news is that right now the radar shows the bulk of the rain offshore, but as we progress deeper into the afternoon hours, anticipate that rain to move closer to the coast. Now, we have been watching this line of rain stretch from Macon, Georgia, all the way to just west of Columbia in South Carolina, moving through the Greenville and Greenwood areas here with this batch of heavy rain, embedded stronger storms. Earlier, we did have a severe thunderstorm warning out on this one just north of Augusta, with reports of pea-sized hailstones and winds over 35 miles per hour. Still looks a little ominous on the radar, but we think it's remaining below severe limits at this time, and we'll keep you updated on this. Mark?
That rain shield is marching towards the east, towards Hilton Head. That's where the PGA Tour is this weekend. And you know what? There's still going to be some showers lingering back behind. Thursday morning, some showers. Friday, maybe a round of afternoon showers, or even a rumble of thunder can't be ruled out. So the early rounds of play could have some issues. We should clear out by Saturday. That is the good news. And if you're feeling like a pro yourself this weekend, you could always hit the links at the Bay Harbor Golf Club in Bay Harbor, Michigan. 3 distinctly different courses there. Some big challenges, though. There's a 140-foot cliff. There's ancient sand dunes. There's an abandoned shale quarry there. All of this along the course. A magnificent spot to play, that's for sure. As we check out the forecast for this weekend, it does appear that we're going to see sunshine Friday and Saturday, and apparently some giant raindrops by Sunday afternoon, so try to get that play in early on Sunday. You could have some issues by the end of the day. Early tee time's better.
This golf forecast brought to you by Pure Michigan. Your trip begins at Michigan.org.
We make meeting times, lunch times, and conference times. But what we'd rather be making are tea times. Tea times are the official start of what we love to do. The time for shots we'd rather forget, and the ones we'll talk about forever. In Michigan, long days, relaxing weather, and more than 800 pristine courses make for the perfect tea time. Because being able to play all day is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at Michigan.org.
Discover Can-Am's wide range of industry-leading vehicles during the Ready to Ride sales event. For a limited time, the Outlander L starts at $59.99. Or get the versatile Commander, the powerful Outlander, and the turbocharged Maverick XDS. With cash rebates up to $2,000. Don't miss out. Visit your local dealer during the Ready to Ride sales event. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
You do know the experts at Midas will tell you what needs fixing now and what can wait, right? Like, I don't know, brakes? Of course I do.
One of the best things about driving is being able to stop. Get up to $100 back by mail on a 2-axle brake service. Brakes, tires, oil, everything.
Did someone say burn? Try Alka-Seltzer Relief Chews. They work just as fast and are proven to taste better than Tums Smoothies assorted fruit.
Amazing.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Alka-Seltzer Heartburn Relief Chews. Enjoy the relief.
Oh, this audit will take days. What a headache.
Actually, I don't have a headache anymore. Excedrin really does work fast.
In fact, for some, relief starts in just 15 minutes. Excedrin.
Wow, that was fast.
My husband said, "You're beautiful and I love you, but I'm worried about your health and your weight. I'm worried we're going to lose you." That was my moment.
When your moment comes, you can count, track, and worry over every meal. Or you can lose weight simply with Jenny Craig.
Just walk in or call. Meet your own personal consultant who will help turn your moment into the best summer ever. Pick from our all-new spring menu and start losing now. Don't wait. Join free plus $50 in food savings.
A moment can change your whole life with Jenny Craig.
I've never cooked Thai food in my life, and now I'm cooking it for 20 people. The Cooking Club was one of the first things we tried when we moved to Del Webb, and now it's our turn to have everyone over. I'm finding that a kitchen and a house like this encourage you to try new things. In fact, in my new home with my new friends, I'm becoming quite comfortable, stepping out of my comfort zone.
Find the community that's right for you at delweb.com. While you're at it, schedule a visit for a day or more and meet the people who live there.
Weather. So we build things to harness it.
This is about how far you can push yourself.
Currently in our area, 87 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Today, sunshine and clouds mixed. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. High 87. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Low 74. Thursday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 87. Chance of rain 40%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
The Weather Channel's most watched original program,
and it just hit us,
is back.
This is just the beginning of what's to come.
A 100-mile stretch of Utah interstate is now back open after strong 60-mile-per-hour winds knocked over several semi-trucks, killing at least one person. 25 people were hurt in that chain reaction accident in Tooele County near the Nevada border. Drivers involved in the pileup said it wasn't just the wind, it was the dust. It was blinding, and they couldn't see what was in front of them. The Utah Highway Patrol says the conditions were extreme. 18 people hospitalized, and the responders even had a tough time getting to the site. The medical choppers couldn't fly in that dusty, windy weather. Welcome back to Weather Center Live. I'm Mark Elliott.
And I'm Vivian Brown. Now, we're going to go more in depth, of course, on that dust storm in just a moment. But first, we want to tell you about the weather problems we're having along the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, rain has been a big story across the South this week. Rain is the ruler, right? From the French Quarter of New Orleans to the Grand Strand of Myrtle Beach. And from atop the Coca-Cola World headquarters in Atlanta to Billy Graham Library and home in Charlotte, North Carolina, all of these cities, you're going to need the umbrellas handy. Rain has got a grip on the South, and it's not letting go. Isn't that right, Viv?
Oh, it is a strong grip, as you said, Mark. So let's detail the days to come, because unfortunately what we've already seen, we will continue to see, because the upper air pattern really does not change. Notice the jet stream flowing right across the lower Mississippi Valley, pumping in all of that moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. So here you have it for the rest of the week. Widespread showers and storms in the forecast. And you can see, before all is said and done, 1 to 2 inch accumulations expected, generally speaking, across some of the rain gauges here. But if you have a rain gauge and you live in New Orleans, what about Biloxi, Mississippi, or Mobile, Alabama? Your gauge may measure as much as 3 to 5 inches right on through the weekend. And here's why. At the surface, we have pretty much the same setup as well. We have this cold front kind of bowing across the central parts of Louisiana, and then the warm front that turns back into a cold front, more stationary for the most part, but nonetheless, all areas south of this front, we have that low-level moisture with the winds coming in from the Gulf of Mexico, just pulling in all of that just rich moisture from this region. Now, we do have a batch of embedded stronger storms here off the coast of Louisiana, but we've been watching individual thunderstorms develop just west of the Biloxi, Mississippi area. We'll keep you updated on that. It doesn't have a warning out on it right now, but definitely watching it closely. And then we've been following this line of persistent rain over central Georgia into South Carolina all afternoon. You can see around the Augusta area, that's where this particular thunderstorm looks a little more ominous. It did have a warning out on it earlier, but that has been allowed to expire. And then you can see the pocket of heavier rain up to Greenville, South Carolina as well, kind of breaking apart as you get into North Carolina. But all of this is slowly but surely pushing out to the east toward Interstate 95. So if you have travel plans here, please be prepared for the inclement driving conditions. In fact, let's bring in Dr. Greg Postel, because embedded in these rounds of rain, we talk about the threat of severe storms. Now, Dr. Postel, are we talking tornadoes today?
You can't rule it out, but probably not. That would be my guess, probably not. Let's have a look at the map to show you where the severe weather is most likely to occur, I think, in the high plains. But, you know, as Viv mentioned, you know, we've got a risk of thunderstorms here. Some of those could be pretty strong. And we actually, just about an hour and a half ago, had a severe thunderstorm warning in parts of eastern Georgia and western South Carolina. So just because it's orange here doesn't mean you can't have a severe thunderstorm. It's just less likely than it is out in here in the high plains, where we think there's a better chance for that later on this afternoon. The reason why is because there are more potent upper level dynamics, more support for the development of big thunderstorms out that way. We got a pretty strong upper level low there across the Intermountain West. In fact, that's the cold core aloft that's supporting the snow across parts of Salt Lake City. They've already gotten 5 inches of snow mid-April. That's pretty cold, you know, aloft. And around that circulation, we're seeing pretty strong winds now coming out over the plains. So the setup in part is there for some big storms later on today. The dew points, you may look at this map and say, what is that, 43? How are you going to get a severe thunderstorm out of that? Well, the elevation is up here about 3,000, 3,500 feet, so a dew point in the high 40s, low 50s is enough to produce, or at least support, big thunderstorms. You don't need those high dew points at higher elevations. And we're starting to see on the visible satellite pictures right out here, just some stratus clouds it looks like right now, but clear skies. So the air mass is going to be heating up during the afternoon and evening hours. Let's show you what the forecast radar has in store. We have some big storms firing up near Goodland and parts of western Nebraska, and isolated in that way. I mean, you might think there's not a whole lot of coverage here, which if you're a chaser might be good news. Of course, at 1:30 in the morning, you're not going to. But isolated storms out here on the high plains is probably in store, with the primary hazard being high winds and hail. Farther to the south across parts of Texas, same story. Not a huge coverage of big storms, but perhaps in pockets near San Antonio and, of course, in the higher plains out toward Midland. Tomorrow, I think the risk comes up a little bit as the upper level low that's out there moves a little bit farther to the east, brings some stronger winds aloft, and all the way from, say, Dodge City down through central Texas and even southeast Texas. There's a shot for more severe weather, with, again, the primary hazards being hail and high winds, so you cannot rule out a tornado, of course. Viv and Mark, back to you guys.
All right, thanks very much, Dr. Postel. Well, now we want to talk about the violent weather in Utah. An incredibly powerful dust storm turns deadly in the Salt Lake City area.
Yeah, it was blinding drivers and packing winds so high that they toppled several tractor trailers on the highway. NBC's Haley Jackson has more.
This is what it looked like during a deadly dust storm that killed at least one person and hurt 25 others. Zero visibility, with wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour, whipping up dust so thick, state police say a semi-truck had to stop on the highway. That triggered a chain reaction. As many as 8 big rigs, about a dozen cars, part of the pileup.
This dust that you see, it was completely blown over with dust, zero visibility.
At least 16 people have been hospitalized, with Interstate 80 closed for nearly 100 miles in both directions. From the Nevada border all the way to Salt Lake City, now bracing for a blow. The airport shutting down temporarily as the dust storm works its way east. Hallie Jackson, NBC News, Los Angeles.
And not only do we get to share amazing weather with you every day, but we get to geek out with you about the weather from time to time, all in an effort to keep you better informed. So here's a breakdown on how all those dust clouds form in the first place. You know, every time a haboob or a giant dust storm forms, people ask us how that is possible. So this is how it works. First, you got to have a dusty terrain with a thunderstorm of some kind above it. I say thunderstorm because it needs a pretty decent sized updraft. That is air that's moving up from the ground and into the cloud. It has to be strong enough to suspend some of the rain up aloft where it starts to evaporate and cool down. Now, once it cools down enough, it gets heavier than the air around it. So it very rapidly falls. You have wind that's coming back down, so a strong downdraft along with some of that precipitation, and it creates wind coming out of the storm in all directions. This is what's known as a gust front, and this gust front extends out, moves away from the rain, and picks up all the dust that's on the ground. So you have this burst of air coming out along the gust front, and it's kicking up dust along the way. You better watch out. You do not want to be there when that dust is moving your way.
All right, from intense dust storms to fires.
You know, every time a haboob...
There are dangers all across the country right now. Take a look at this photo of a brush fire around Bismarck, North Dakota. Now, this was of yesterday, the campus, the University of Mary. And here we see the aftermath, of course, as we have a lot of land that's charred over the area. Look at that. So that the fire came pretty close to the campus there, and quite a bit of a charred area there. Stay with us because we have a complete look at the forecast. No rain, unfortunately, in Bismarck.
Currently in our area, 87 degrees under partly cloudy skies. This afternoon, sun and clouds mixed. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. High 88. Tonight, some clouds, low 74. Thursday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 87. Chance of rain 50%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Now at Boston Market, new slow-braised pulled pork. So tender, it falls apart. Topped with zesty barbecue or garlic citrus sauce. A bold new taste from the slow roasting experts at Boston Market.
6 smoky hours, 1 tasty dish, slow-braised pulled pork, now at Boston Market.
A message from the Pulaski Law Firm. You started there right out of high school, learned your trade and did it well. And the asbestos you handled, well, that was just part of the job. If you worked in the trades and were diagnosed with mesothelioma, get the best care available. Then call us. You may be entitled to financial compensation without ever going to court. Call 1-800-950-MESO and see how we can help. Mesothelioma. Don't fight it alone.
Hands were made for talking. Feet, tiptoeing. Better things than the pain, stiffness, and joint damage of moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis. Before you and your rheumatologist decide on a biologic, ask if Xeljanz is right for you. Xeljanz tofacitinib is a small pill, not an injection or infusion, for adults with moderate to severe RA for whom methotrexate did not work well. Xeljanz can relieve RA symptoms and help stop further joint damage. Xeljanz can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers have happened in patients taking Xeljanz. Don't start Xeljanz if you have any infection, unless okay with your doctor. Tears in the stomach or intestines, low blood cell counts, and higher liver tests and cholesterol levels have happened. Your doctor should perform blood tests before you start and while taking Xeljanz, and routinely check certain liver tests. Tell your doctor if you have been to a region where fungal infections are common, and if you have had TB, hepatitis B or C, or are prone to infections. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take. 1 pill, twice daily. Xeljanz can reduce RA pain and help stop further joint damage, even without methotrexate. Ask about Xeljanz.
This little guy is about to make his first deposit.
We'd like to open up a savings account for him.
Yes.
Great.
Thanks to Mom and Dad and their safe driving bonus check from Allstate.
Oh, look at this. Safe driving bonus. Are you a safe driver?
Lucky little fella.
Only Allstate gives you 2 safe driving bonus checks a year for driving safe. See how much more an Allstate agent can do for you. Call 877-644-3100.
Like in most families, Dad's always the last to know.
Oh.
That's why accident forgiveness was the first thing he asked for when he switched to Allstate.
Michael James?
Middle name. Not good.
Get accident forgiveness from Allstate and keep your rates from going up just because of an accident. Find out how a local Allstate agent can help better protect your family. Call one right now. Plus, drivers who switched saved an average of $498 a year.
Just a few more ways the good hands are doing more than ever before.
See what the personal service of an Allstate agent can do for you. Call 877-644-3100.
Anyone have occasional constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating?
Yes.
One Phillips Colon Health probiotic cap each day helps defend against these occasional digestive issues with 3 types of good bacteria. Live the regular life. Phillips.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. Health reform has added significant new benefits to Medicare plans. If you have Medicare Part A, Part B, Part D, or any Medicare Advantage plan, you now get benefits with no copays, no deductibles, and can get dental, vision, and prescription coverage included. Call the Medicare Health Reform Helpline now to make sure you have all the benefits you're entitled to. Call the Medicare Health Reform Helpline now to update your plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Buchwald. The cost of health insurance and the denial of coverage because of pre-existing conditions has been a serious problem in America. But now the law has changed. Healthcare reform is now available. So many people do not take advantage of the benefits offered to them by healthcare reform because they don't call. Call now.
The Medicare Health Reform Helpline is now accepting calls. Don't miss the deadline. Call the Medicare Health Reform Helpline.
Call 800-399-2752. That's 800-399-2752. 800-399-2752.
We are keeping an eye on a very serious situation right now.
Yeah, we're talking about critical fire conditions that continue from the Rockies through the plains through the upper Midwest.
And with winds gusting to 40 miles an hour easily, any fire that does start will expand quickly.
The upper Midwest on fire alert this week after grass and brush fires sparked in both Minnesota and North Dakota.
I got a text from the neighbor here that there was a fire right next to the house we just finished building in October. And so I came out to take a look at what was going on and the cars and the traffic and the fire trucks. And it's just wow.
Those who live closest to the Bismarck fire were asked to evacuate for their safety and allow first responders to gain easy access to the burning area. At least 4 rural fire departments, the Sheriff's Department, and the North Dakota National Guard teamed up to fight the fire Monday into Tuesday.
The rural fire department cannot get into the trees down there. It's too thick. So without the helicopters, they would have a lot harder time. They're going into the fire and the smoke is so thick they have to do a go around and come back in again because they can't see the trees or they can't see anything.
Which meant 2 Black Hawk helicopters made numerous trips to the Missouri River to fill up and douse the flames. The fire burned through almost 3,000 acres before it was under control Tuesday night. In Minnesota, near Barnesville, firefighters believe over 1,000 acres burned due to the carelessness of a resident who lives in the area. Winds gusting up to 45 miles per hour helped spread the blaze. Officials are asking locals to respect the burn bans in place as dry, windy conditions are aiding the fire threat this week.
And the fire threat does continue across much of the northern plains. We've had extremely dry conditions and the red flag warnings here extending from west central Wisconsin into North Dakota, even some parts of Illinois and Indiana here, because the conditions have been dry in terms of the lack of any heavy rain or snow, but also the humidity levels, meaning just the sheer moisture in the atmosphere is very low with only 18% relative humidity in Fargo, North Dakota, a little bit better there in Rapid City, South Dakota, but anytime you're below 50%, you're talking about a relatively dry air mass. And the winds, again, this could be a contributing factor to the fire dangers, as those winds could just fan the flames here if they get started, with winds gusting over some 30 and close to 40 miles per hour. Again, the fire danger is still pretty high, in particular over the northern parts there of Minnesota into North Dakota. Mark?
And you know what, Viv? It is not just the Midwest. We're also talking about the Southwest having real fire danger over the next couple of days. Now, part of this story is a real localized event. I want to talk a little bit about what a sundowner wind is. Many of you may have heard about a Santa Ana wind. It's pretty similar. You get high pressure to the north and thus a northerly wind coming right towards Santa Barbara. And Santa Barbara has a mountain chain that basically goes east to west north of town. So those northerly winds are able to funnel in through the canyons and passes. They'll speed up, and then as they go down the other side of the hills, they will compress and warm up and dry out even more. So you have a faster wind and a drier wind that's just screaming towards the coastline. This has been responsible for many fires in years past, and usually is a couple of days ahead of the Santa Ana event. So maybe LA and Ventura counties, you got to watch out there too. It's already dry. We got red flag warnings there. Southern Arizona, the portions of the rest of the Four Corners, Colorado and New Mexico, and here's why. Look how dry it is, right? We've got relative humidity values in the low teens at this point through much of the area. Plus, you got wind blowing. A wind gust forecast through the day Wednesday, widespread winds 10, 20, even 30 miles per hour. So it's dry, it's hot, and it's breezy, and that is the exact setup for high fire danger. So we're going to see that increasing. Notice towards the end of Wednesday, it starts to get back towards Southern California for that fire danger. It looks like a Santa Ana event is going to set up Thursday into Friday, maybe record high temperatures near LA, but also a high fire danger. For now, Tucson, you're in the sunny and dry conditions today. We're back.
Olive Garden's lunch. You can never have too much of a good thing. Like unlimited fresh-baked garlic breadsticks, never-ending homemade soup, and freshly tossed signature salad, starting at $6.99. The lunch you love at Olive Garden.
I'll ride the highway. I'm going my way. I leave a story untold.
He just keeps sending more pictures.
If you're a free-range chicken, you roam free. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
So much food is going to waste. The scale is pretty shocking.
It goes straight in the garbage. We're wasting 40% of our food. My question, how much of it is still good and can I eat it?
The challenge, to survive for 6 months only on food destined for the dumpster.
Do I have to go dumpster diving on my lunch break?
I'm starting to enjoy this.
And following the film, join Tom Colicchio to learn how together we can stop the waste. Just Eat It, April 22nd at 10 on MSNBC.
Currently in our area, 87 degrees, under partly cloudy skies. This afternoon, sun and clouds mixed. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. High 88. Tonight, some clouds, low 74. Thursday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, high 87. Chance of rain, 50%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Lowe's presents How to Accidentally Invent a New Word.
This new living room is so you. It's so sophisticated. Exactly. Sophisticated.
Now get free basic installation with the Stainmaster carpet and pad purchase of $4.99 or more.
Shop Lowe's for all your spring gardening needs. Plants, tools, and the knowledgeable people who can help you spring into spring.
It's gonna tempt your tummy with a taste of nuts and honey. It's honey almond oat. It's Honey Nut Cheerios.
Can a protein originally found in a jellyfish improve your memory? Our scientists say yes. Researchers have discovered a protein that actually supports healthier brain function. It's the breakthrough in a supplement called Prevagen. As we age, we lose proteins that support our brain. Prevagen supplements these proteins and has been clinically shown to improve memory. It's safe and effective. For support of healthier brain function, a sharper mind, and clearer thinking, try Prevagen for yourself today.
My feet felt so heavy at the end of the day.
They used to get really tired.
Until I started gelling.
I got Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles.
When they're in my shoes, my feet and legs feel less tired.
It's like walking on a wave.
Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles.
I'm a believer. It's on!
Come on, get together.
Mom and Dad told us they had just made their funeral and burial prearrangements. We thought they already had taken care of that. When we learned it was through Beth Israel and Eternal Light, we knew everything would be handled in the most caring and professional way. We realized it would be one of the most difficult days of our lives. It inspired my husband and me to make our own prearrangements so the burden wouldn't fall on our children when that day comes. It's not an easy thing to think about, but I'm so glad we did.
Habitat for Humanity of Palm Beach County is a nonprofit organization dedicated to bringing people together to build safe, decent, affordable housing to serve low-income and hardworking families in our community. You can help Habitat's mission through home sponsorship, monetary donations, volunteering, or by donating sellable household items and building supplies to our restores. You can learn more at habitatpbc.org.
Sundays.
One man's trash
Get to work.
is another man's totally awesome beer can space heater.
Hi.
Brainstormers. Sundays at 9. Only on the Weather Channel.
Hello and welcome Welcome back to Weather Center Live. Now, after a rough winter season for the Northwest, a lot of people are now taking advantage of the new April snow on Mount Hood. Mark Hanrahan has more from Portland, Oregon affiliate KGO.
At Timberline Ski Area, the lift lines were short, the snow was falling, and skiers and boarders were saying things we haven't heard all season.
These conditions are amazing.
For most of the winter, ski resorts had a tough time staying open. This is how Ski Bowl looked in February, and here's how it looked today. Well, it may have been too little too late for this resort. Meadows and Timberline are taking advantage of the spring snow, and a couple of boarders told us they weren't about to miss out, even if that meant leaving work behind.
Yeah, today is no reason to go to work. I went to work and I turned around, and as soon as my sister sees this, she's going to kill me.
You work with her, I assume?
Yes. I did, maybe.
Yeah, it's great. There's not a whole lot of people. Everybody's working today. Unfortunately for them, I was lucky enough to be able to come up.
All right, to talk more about this April snow and to find out if more is on the way, let's go to the lab. That's where Mark is joined by storm specialist Dr. Greg Postel. Okay, guys, any more snow in the forecast?
Yay! Don't you think?
It looks that way. I mean, we've been seeing some pretty good snows, especially around Salt Lake City, and because this is such a slow-moving system, we got some more to come.
Yeah, that's good point. It is slow-moving, and it is producing some significant snow in some places. One of those areas is right near Salt Lake City. In fact, I'm looking at this satellite picture, and I'm thinking one of the centers of circulation here is very near Salt Lake City at upper levels right now, helping to support some of those snows. And look at some of these. Gosh, Mark, to me, that looks like S+. I don't know. Some of these surrounding suburbs of Salt Lake City, I would not be surprised to see some very high accumulation rates there.
So some enhancement coming off the lake itself. And then, of course, we can show you what it looks like not only on the radar, but also live in town. How about that?
Yeah.
Snow's coming down in a pretty good clip. The visibility's come down a bit, even since last hour. But what you notice is that the streets and the parking lots there still clear. I mean, it was so warm yesterday, Doc.
Yeah, those areas are warm. And also, I think, actually, Salt Lake City Airport, Sarah Dillingham looked that up for us. It was 32 degrees last hour and probably on its way up, we think, Mark. If you look hour by hour, expected to get up to 40. I think we're already a little bit behind on the temperatures, so maybe we won't get to 40, but I think we'll get mid to high 30s, which should turn it over to rain.
You know where we won't get? To where we were yesterday when it was in the low 70s. What a difference, a 40-degree plus drop in just 24 hours.
That is some kind of cold front, and that cold front is continuing to bring the cold air across parts of the region. Here's the water vapor image. Mark, you were talking about this thing moving pretty slowly, and there it is, that upper level swirly, and maybe moving just a little bit farther to the east and getting some parts of Colorado in play for some snow tonight and tomorrow.
And, you know, that snow just epic in the higher elevations. Will it get in all the way into Denver or Cheyenne?
Probably not.
Okay.
You're exactly right. Higher elevation snow. That upper level low is a cold pocket aloft. The ground temperatures, marginal in Salt Lake City. You saw the roads were wet. And even warmer probably in the high plains here, Cheyenne, Denver, Pueblo. We think tomorrow will be rain, but just an hour or so west, Mark, could be snowing pretty hard.
Right, and some of that snow is really going to accumulate fast. I mean, these snowfall totals are impressive.
Yeah, oh gosh, up to 2 feet in some places. So spring skiing, bonus time out here across parts of the Rockies.
Yeah, although for the Denver area and the Front Range, this is kind of the setup that you get for big snows. This is some of their biggest snowfall times a year.
Yeah, in the spring when they're too warm on the plains with the 40s tomorrow night in the 40s across parts of the lower elevations here. But once you get into the elevated areas, that cold pocket aloft moves in, brings the freezing level down real close to the ground. Not at Denver, but only at about 3,000 feet. You should be right around freezing. And if you go farther to the west, Mark, you can see that freezing level at those higher terrain areas is going to be close to the ground.
Yeah, and so with a sounding like that, you should have snow all the way down, which should even be able to accumulate in Estes Park, even with 34 degrees.
Let's draw a little snowflake on there, Marky, and let's bring it all the way down to the ground.
There we go.
So Estes Park is going to have snow tomorrow and tomorrow night. How about that?
Sounds good to me. Let's go skiing. Viv, over to you.
All right, thanks very much, guys. Well, as the rain keeps falling and the snow too, Weather Center Live keeps rolling on. Up next, we're talking about flooding concerns across the South as we deal with another rainy day after another. Okay, we want to make sure that you're prepared for whatever comes your way. Stay with us. Your hour-by-hour forecast is...
Currently in our area, 87 degrees, under partly cloudy skies. This afternoon, sun and clouds mixed. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. High 88. Tonight, some clouds, low 74. Thursday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 87. Chance of rain 50%. Here's our 7-day outlook.